several budget workshops to review the superintendent's proposed budget for 26-27. I want to thank board members for all of their questions. You clearly put in a lot of time and consideration into the review of the budget document. We all appreciate that. I think this is a record number of questions. We have 58 questions in this first initial round of submitting. So that's quite a bit, and we're going to do our best to get through them in a way that isn't duplicative and stuff like that. We do have some duplicated questions, so while all are listed in the document, we might not read all of the questions if they're the same. We'll just note that there were several, and we do read them for the record so that people that are watching, while we are casting the questions, people that are watching are hearing what we're saying. So, as I've said, we'll discuss follow-ups to the answers at the time of the question as needed. But some of the answers are more straightforward than others, might not need discussion. It's really up to board members to ask questions, follow-up questions as they need to. I'm thinking that we might actually go till 10 o'clock tonight. It's going to be a late night because we have a lot to get through. We're not going to do all of these, obviously, tonight, but if we can get through a little more than half, that would be good. And then we'll pick up tomorrow with wherever we leave off. So we'll see how it goes, but that's my guess is that we'll be here a little bit later than usual. So with that, I'll turn things over to Dr. Kataya for Q&A.
Thank you, Mrs. Glennon, and thank you, board members. We are really looking forward to this evening's dialogue. While this is Q&A, we are very interested in a back and forth dialogue so that you can best understand what is built into this budget and what is not built into the budget. The way we do this is multiple members of cabinet all know their assigned questions, so we'll be bouncing around and cabinet members will read the question and the answer, and then we'll pause and take any further discussion on that item, and then we'll move along, okay? So I turn things over to my colleague, Mr. Brennan.
Thank you, Dr. Kataya. So for question one, I will begin with the question and then I will read the response. Question one, please explain our contractual obligation to provide retiree insurance. Is this just health insurance? Approximately how many retirees are covered and what accounts for the significant increase of $838,725? Our obligation to provide insurance to retirees is a mandatory requirement rooted in collective bargaining agreements. Currently, we provide medical plan coverage to 457 retired employees. In addition, we are also contractually obligated to provide life insurance to 696 retired individuals. While this expense primarily consists of health insurance, it may also include life insurance depending upon the specific contract that is in place at the time of an individual's retirement. The significant increase of $838,725 is largely driven by the sharp rise in healthcare costs that many are experiencing in the current economy. These obligations are tied to the benefit provided at the date of retirement. Consequently, the district manages multiple legacy plans tailored to provide comprehensive coverage for an aging population. The specific demographic is increasingly difficult and expensive to find coverage for in the modern insurance market. Many of these insurance obligations stem from contracts negotiated several decades ago. At the time of those agreements, the healthcare landscape was vastly different, and the long-term costs of such plans were not as high as they are today. However, because these benefits are vested at the time of retirement, the district is legally bound to honor the specific terms of those original contracts, regardless of how much market rates have climbed since. As our workforce ages and more staff members transition into retirement under those older agreements, the volume of participants increases alongside the rising premiums. This budget adjustment ensures we remain in legal compliance with our contractual commitments while accounting for the reality of high utilization and the volatile nature of healthcare industry.
Thank you. Any questions on this? It's clear to everybody? Mm-hmm. All right, thank you. Next.
All right, I have question two. Please discuss the impact if the more major reductions, including but not limited to computer equipment for specialized courses, what courses? There are several courses that requested additional technical equipment. Some examples include iPads for music, drawing tablets for art, lab computers for the computer science career pathway, drafting, and the new esports career pathway. Professional learning, including what is the dollar amount of the reduction. The total proposed reduction for professional learning is $107,767. Each year, we review our professional learning priorities to ensure that they meet the specific needs of our schools and departments. As we approach each new school year, we also review the number of professional learning days needed based on project goals. In instances where we utilize a professional learning consultant, the total number of days were reduced for next year. It is important to note that we are making reductions in professional learning that allow us to maintain the work but not expand to the next level. For example, while we continue to prioritize supporting educators with the delivery of literacy instruction, we have removed the funding for our Summer Literacy Institute and reduced elementary literacy professional learning based on where we are with the implementation of the core reading program, or core reading curriculum, excuse me. In curriculum development, despite reductions in curriculum development funds, the district continues to follow the MPS curriculum revision cycle to promote coherence and quality across programs. However, funding reductions limit both the number of educators who can participate in curriculum revision work and the number of days available for that work, reducing overall capacity. As a result, larger or more complex curriculum projects may be delayed or extended over multiple years. When prioritization is necessary, core courses are typically addressed first, often resulting in elective course revisions being postponed. These delays directly impact students by limiting their access to up-to-date, rigorous learning experiences aligned to current state and national standards. Without timely curriculum updates, students may miss opportunities to engage in relevant content, develop essential skills, and experience instructional practices that reflect evolving expectations for college, career, and civic readiness.
Thank you. So do we have questions on this? I have some. Ms. Wolf-Boynton?
Can you talk a little, please, about how the reduction in computer equipment for specialized courses will affect their delivery? Are they being canceled altogether, or?
No, that's a great question. We are going to continue to develop the programming and the courses for the pathways. It may put a delay on how expansive we can get within the curriculum, the experiences we could provide, depending on the availability of the hardware and software that we hope to expand to for those courses. So for instance, if we want to do something with cybersecurity, that based on the programming that's needed or the specifications of the equipment, that may delay some of that coursework from happening.
What about specifically the esports pathway?
So we have a course that is different from the actual esports athletic club, and the fact that the esports course that's available right now is like a marketing management course, so students know how to coach the team, how to set up for the particular strategy groups. The computer software will help us be able to continue to develop courses specific to that esports pathway. So we're looking to kind of build another computer science type pathway relative to the esports.
And will that, I'm sorry, I just want to be clear, will
Yeah.
that be able to continue under the current budget?
The development of the pathway?
Yeah.
Yes, the development
Yes.
of the pathway will continue. We are actively looking to do some curriculum development work for courses in that this summer.
And one more question, if I can. When it comes to, I'm thinking the curriculum development, but any part of this, will the reductions have any effect on us being able to meet any state mandates?
No, so state mandates, things that are legislatively required, we would continue to provide. Those are things that we would prioritize with the curriculum funding available. It may limit the number of days. So for instance, originally we were going to look at some of our other CTE courses. But knowing where we are with budget, we've prioritized the esports pathway for course development. So some of the other courses, whether it's a culinary course, we may have delayed for now to be able to accommodate some of those other projects.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Rowe?
Thank you. For the professional learning, how is this reduction going to affect HQI over the summer?
No, so HQI, we continue to look at trends in enrollment. We think about opportunities to expand programming. So that's dialogue that Dr. Kataya and myself are having. Even as we end the previous season, we start thinking about next year right away. So we're thinking about ways to build in increased opportunities for staff, novel ideas, the professional learning pathways that I mentioned to you as part of HQI Live Season 6. But we look at year-to-year enrollments, and I try my best to account for what we're anticipating for staff attendance as I build the budget, because obviously we don't know until later on once the budget has been created. But that, based on funding, it will not impact. That is a priority of ours that we are incredibly steadfast on, and we'll continue to make sure it is a priority in our professional learning budget.
But Mr. Altieri, you made one significant decision based on staff and program needs. We've reduced a full day of it, so rather than it being a
Correct.
6-day experience, it's a 5-day experience. And what we call as day 0, which is the full day, the other days are more of a condensed release at 1:30. So just in that programmatic decision, HQI Live actually will realize a savings.
Okay.
And
So
that
it won't
is
be as costly.
That is staff feedback. That
Yeah.
was solicited from teachers. We surveyed teachers about the dates when we offer it, challenges with childcare, whatever happens to be the schedule. So we really tried to make sure that the model that we put out, the product-wise, fit the needs and the recommendations of our teachers.
Great. I think that it'll be great to have it in the end of June. I think that hopefully we can get the attendance back up again.
Yeah, we feel like people are still in the school mode at that point.
Yeah. And then in the under curriculum development.
Yes.
I know we've, over time, this is an area we've chipped away previously in a number of budgets that we've had to do. So, because the cycle started at 5 years, was it originally? In terms of
long
most
time
curriculum?
ago.
A long
We're-
time ago?
A long time.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of at 7,
We're
8
7
years?
year right now.
Yeah. And do you see any, I think that from my understanding from what you told Ms. Boyton, is that you'll basically redirect if we need to do more literacy work, more math work, and limit the ability to do all of these extra programs that we would like to.
Correct,
implement.
just like PL, my work begins in May of the previous year. We start talking about priorities, we start thinking about where contracts need to be for if we have an external provider come in and work with us, or if we, for curriculum development, new courses, or we've started to take a lot of feedback from students, especially in the area of literacy, middle school, high school, thinking about new course opportunities in ELA and social studies. So we are responsive to that every year. So it does change and fluctuate based on the needs of new courses, and also trying to prioritize staying true to the curriculum revision cycle. That was thrown off a little bit through COVID. We had to readjust the schedule, so.
I think these 2 categories are great examples of a theme that will carry through all of these questions. We were in a position to have to prioritize the priorities. So there were a lot of priorities, but because of prioritizing safety and security in the SSO position, we felt like we had to prioritize all of our priorities. So if something didn't make the budget, it doesn't mean it's not a priority. It's just we had to prioritize that list. So we did that in the area of professional learning and curriculum under this question.
Right, because I think these are 2 areas where if you had more resources, we would be able to use the resources. There are
Absolutely.
times where I think that we are at capacity at the work that we're able to do as a team but this is not a place where if we had more money to do more curriculum,
Yeah.
there are staff who are willing and able and want to do this.
That's why in the curriculum cycle, there are about 3 years of implementation. So you're not actually writing curriculum in every area on a regular, like you review, research, write, revise, implement. And so the cycle is meant so that you're spending money maybe in math these 2 years,
Right.
and the money comes off of math and you throw it into science. So there is a natural ebb and flow in the cycle itself. We're just having to modify it because of prioritizing the priorities.
Thank you.
So I just want to point out on the HQI live question that has been expanded on. So remember you saying the HQI live still has the support of the union, MEA union. Teachers are still interested in participating.
Yeah, the union's been very vocal with us about supporting it and encouraging staff to attend, so.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to ask on the professional learning, where you mentioned at the end of the answer that you removed funding from the Summer Literacy Institute. That was a staff program, right?
That was a staff program.
And the literacy professional learning at the elementary level, based on where we are in the implementation, meaning that it's not necessary. So those two components right now are not necessary because of where you're at? Is that what?
Correct.
you mean?
We feel like with the Summer Literacy Institute that we had some really good momentum for the first 2 years that we ran it, and that there was priorities elsewhere for those funds to be utilized. In terms of the elementary professional learning around literacy, a lot of it was initially to sustain implementation of the program, the new curriculum. Now we feel like we're able to pull back on some of those.
Okay, so we're still meeting the requirements of the
Yes.
Right to Read Act and stuff like that?
Yes, there's no change to that.
Okay, all right. Any other questions on this? Ms. Edmonds?
About the prioritizing the priorities, I was wondering if job market projections were considered in your decisions about which CTE courses are prioritized?
Yes, actually last year we have an industry collaboration board in which some of our MPS staff meet with local business partners from all of our different career pathways. We actually looked at the Connecticut labor market data and did some industry projections to help think about future coursework, future career pathways, and we're constantly bringing in the conversation in those meetings about how we can support new professionals now at MPS so they're prepared and ready to go into the career field. So that is actually something that we have done in prior school years and will continue to do.
Not to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
You might not know this off the top of your head, but would you be able to tell us more specifically what courses are moving forward and which are on pause?
In terms of curriculum, yes, I can tell you, I can give you a general overview. I'm always happy to provide a list of the total. We are doing some work with middle school music, band, chorus, and strings. We are doing some work with our grade 5, K through 5 SEL curriculum. We're doing, obviously, I mentioned to you the career pathway work around the esports. We are doing some work with middle school math. We just transitioned the curriculum that we use is going to what's called Amplify. So we've been doing some work with teachers just to do the crossover between programs. So those are some of the major areas that we have identified as need with this upcoming budget.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions on this? Questions on this question? Seeing none, we'll go on to number 3.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Special education represents 23.53% of the total budget. How does this compare to prior years, and what is the longer-term trend? As discussed on numerous occasions, special education costs are rising exponentially across the state and nationally. We believe the trend will only continue to rise. The past year's 25-26 school year, the adopted budget was 23.62%. 24-25 adopted budget was 22.33%, and the 23-24 school year adopted budget was 21.87%.
Ms. Doyle?
Thank you. I think we're consistent with the state in terms of the percentage of students who are being identified. Is that correct? At 17%?
Yes. Correct.
And if I remember correctly, I heard, I think on Monday, that we said we did an audit of special education services. Is there anything?
I don't
Hold
remember
on.
saying that.
Years ago, they did one.
Okay. All right, I was misthinking. So, that's it.
I apologize, that was way before.
It's
totally
No,
fine.
it was before
But
Dr.
we're
Ty's time, too.
We're not, my point is that we are consistent with the other districts of the number of students who we've identified and number of services, and I think this is a trend across the state where it would be lovely to have more support from above us, but regardless, even only, we're talking about 1% increases over the year, like, it's a lot of money in the grand scheme of our total budget, but you didn't go from 5% to 10%,
Correct.
so I think we're
Fairly
doing a good job.
consistent,
Right.
and the proposal for this year, 23.53, is actually lower than this year's 23.62, so.
Right. Right.
So
Thank
Ms.
you.
Doyle,
Yes.
nationally, if you were to just pull the research, I think percentage of total school district budget ranges 20 to 25%.
Yeah.
There are actually some school districts in the state of Connecticut heading toward 30%. And I do believe I recently provided you in a weekly update the information that legislators are heartfeltly hearing
Sad about
us, but did not convey a positive outlook that relief is coming.
Right, unfortunately. Okay, thank you.
So we're right there in the typical
middle.
average of identification rate, but also expenditures.
Questions? Great, thank you. We'll go on to the next one.
Okay, question number 4. Several initiatives are listed as budget priorities, including musical instrument replacement and summer learning, yet appear reduced elsewhere in the budget. Why? These and other items that we said no or not yet to are priorities. We had to make very difficult decisions and prioritize moving forward with the safety and security upgrades.
Questions? Okay, next.
Question 5. What is the full, and there are 2 related questions that fall under number 5. What is the full dollar amount of the reduction of the Community Connections Coordinator? It seems some of the salary is paid through the operating budget and some is paid through a grant. What will the grant dollars be used for instead? The full dollar amount for the Community Connections Coordinator is projected to have been $45,143 on the district's Title IV Part A grant. The grant permits activities that address 3 key areas: well-rounded educational opportunities, safe and healthy students, and the effective use of technology. The grant will be utilized to support expanded resources in elementary literacy, professional learning for educators on multi-tiered systems of support, or MTSS, and professional learning for music educators. The position will be completely eliminated. We value the work that a Community Connections Center can provide to our great school community. In difficult budgetary times, we put everything on the table and try to stay away from direct impact on children as much as possible. After speaking with the mayor, we believe that the Department of Health Services can provide similar support to our families that the Community Connection Center, or CCC, has to date.
Can you just, in a couple of sentences, explain the multi-tiered systems of support?
Yeah, so the multi-tiered systems of support are a variety of support opportunities for students that are in need of either academic or behavioral support in the classroom setting. So there's 3 tiers, and when we talk about tier 1, it's every student.
Oh, okay.
And then as we go up, there is increasingly more intensive, higher frequency support to students.
So it's the old pyramid. It's the
Yeah.
same
Yes.
thing as the
Pyramid.
tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Okay.
Intervention, tier 2, tier 3, all that.
Other, Mr. Scobie?
Just wondering if you could elaborate more on how the Department of Health Services can provide similar support to someone who's, locked right into the district and just readily available at all times to the families.
So the primary role of the Community Connection Center now is to really connect with families, to engage them with community outreach. So our coordinator at the Community Connection Center forms relationships with local agencies in the city of Milford, outside organizations, to recommend if it's a food insecurity, if it's an issue with access to clothing or resources around the holiday season. We believe that the staff within the Department of Health Services can also make some of those recommendations to families in need, that if we needed to contact or connect a family with that group, they would be able to help provide the similar supports to that family.
And with the Community Connection Coordinator, how were you connecting that person to the families, or the families to that person, and how would you implement some type of system that would instead go to the Department of Health Services?
Yeah, so the Community Connections Coordinator now reaches out to local organizations, Food to Kids. They've done some work in the past with Toys for Tots around the holiday season for families that are in need of supports. We believe that creating and expanding our partnership with the health services team, we can create some of those similar connections to outside organizations as well.
Mr. Artieri, you also, I think what's happening is that there's another layer that can assist our mental health team. So our social workers, our school psychologists, and our school counselors have eyes on our kids. So without the CCC coordinator, it will be incumbent upon our mental health staff to be the connectors between families who they know well, the relationship is there, with the Department of Human Services.
And were they already connecting them to the CCC, or was the CCC just, how was the CCC
Well,
getting
with
involved
once-
originally?
With one CCC, you obviously have to rely on that mental health team to pick up on those needs, and they would be connecting families with the coordinator. So that piece of the structure is already in place. Our mental health team will just be recommending and providing support or directing people to a different place.
Thanks.
Other questions?
I just have one quick follow-up question to kind of piggyback on Adam's question. Is there any data of like what resources are being provided right now, so that with the elimination of this position, there's a way to make sure, or a way to evaluate whether or not families are getting the same access to resources?
Yeah, so there's several different outreach components to the CCC. Some of it is connecting families with school-age children to childcare opportunities, and we've been intentional as a district to create some brochures and almost like a directory of resources to share with families. We also have a Circle of Security for Parenting. Is a program that is run through the CCC, and we've started to think about ways that through our early childhood programming, that can also be facilitated through our team here in district. So we are starting to talk about some of the services that are provided and how we would rethink the way that those are delivered.
Yeah, but, sorry, just to follow up, do you have like current data on what percentage of the community gets access to those services?
I do not have those figures offhand.
But I think Mary Kate keeps,
Yeah.
develops an end-of-year report on the number of families
I can
and
get
the
the-
services. So we could provide that information. I think it exists, we just don't,
Yeah, you just don't know it off the top of your head,
Yeah.
why not?
we're happy to follow up.
Ms.
We're happy to
White.
follow up.
Ms. White, thank you.
Sometimes the years skew together a little when thinking about the budgets. But if I'm remembering correctly, last year we cut one of our two CCCs, correct?
That is correct.
And Mr. Scobie, I thank you a lot for your questions. I remember vividly saying last year, probably not very eloquently, that saving this position was, at least one position, was a sword I was willing to fall on. And I haven't come quite to that conclusion yet this year. We'll wait and see what happens at these workshops. In my fantasy, this budget actually added some support services similar to this, though I completely understand why the decisions are made. Head versus heart type thing. That said, I do believe that there are many, many, many good, arguable, head-based, evidence-based reasons why someone actually in the school is needed. There are so many things that prevent our children from learning because of whether it's food insecurity or their parents just don't understand the value of getting their child to school. I won't list them all, but I just kind of wanted to put out there for the public record that this isn't a good choice for me.
Could I ask, as you get the data, you're going to ask her for the report. I'm assuming, but I might be wrong, that the data might also indicate what schools the families were at, so that, because I know that we had them in 2 schools, and now, then this year it's just in the 1 school. So realistically, how are the other schools? Are they benefiting from that position or not? It would seem to me that, from what I'm hearing you saying is that in the other schools, it was more likely that other school staff, which, and I've heard this anecdotally forever, that our school staff, as you said, has eyes and ears on kids. They step up when they need to assist or address these kinds of needs. And so what I'm hearing you say is that staff members would reach out to the coordinator for their families, and this family needs some assistance getting connected to XYZ. So realistically, how much was that happening across the district versus just in the school where she was located? Because realistically, it would be great to have, a true community-centered school district would have one of these in every school. And that's, probably a fantasy in today's economic.
So we also need to look at how we can leverage our Family Resource Center better, and what the possibilities are there through the allowance of the grant that funds that. And I hear you, Ms. Wolf Boynton, these are painstaking meetings for us, and we incredibly, we value this staff member, right? She's become part of our family, so any of these reductions of people that are on this list, especially in the last 8 months, it's been a lot of goodbyes, especially at the end of last year, right? So this is not a value statement for us. I just want to be clear about that. But some of you may remember in December I shared a picture with you that demonstrated the instructional core, and then the systems and structures are outside of that. And to the degree possible, we tried to, although not completely successful, protect the instructional core in our budget development and reductions, right? Some of these things hit a little closer, like what Mr. Altieri talked about on curriculum development. That's the C in the instructional core. That took a bit of a hit in this budget. So to the degree possible, we tried to stay away from the instructional core. And I know that the CCC likely lives on the circle, not in the triangle, but it has an influence on the triangle, right? Just like all the other things on the circle. So you and the city have been great to support the school counselors at all of our elementary schools, right? So part of this is, okay, we have great school counselors, we have great social workers, we have great school psychologists. That team creates the network, the safety net of support for our families that can also do some of the connecting to the resources and the support that families may need into the community. So that is our thought process behind this reduction.
Appreciate that.
I had actually forgotten about the school counselors, to be honest with you. So that was a huge investment that we made several years ago at the elementary level.
So good, better, ugly, that's where we landed.
Appreciate that, but I'd like to echo what Ms. Glennon asked that information asked for, right? To find out what
We will.
schools,
Yeah.
that, I think that would be super helpful and figuring things out.
Ms. Flowers?
I just have a procedural question. When we receive this information, are we then allowed to ask follow-up questions about these questions?
Sure, yep.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Ms. Doyle?
Can you just remind us all what the Family Resource Center is?
So the Family Resource Center is designed to provide access to supports. It's a grant-funded program. We have a staff member that is employed through that runs and offers play groups to families in the community, really designed to start to get some of our families with young birth to 3 students into the school, let the kids socialize, be able to provide supports to families. As I said, they offer the play groups, and that's really the primary function and role. So that is another opportunity for us to look at how those staff support families. I will say too that we have, with the new Early Start CT program that has replaced school readiness, we've expanded our community table, which is our district's meeting with other organizations throughout the city. And we've expanded those partnerships, and we're talking about supporting specifically families with young students. So that's another opportunity that's out there too, and we're thinking about how to provide that information across the community. We're working on a trifold brochure and some websites and things like that.
Great, thank you. I think, to Dr. Kataya's point, that we haven't discussed yet in this budget that we usually end up discussing is that there are people attached to these jobs, and that they are real people. And, you know, in a situation like this, we generally know who it is, so these are hard conversations, and nothing is to be taken lightly. And there's a lot of thought and intention in what the decision is, so I appreciate it.
Any other questions on this or comments?
I have one more.
Mr. Scobie?
I don't know if this is out of your purview, but since you were speaking to the mayor about this, I thought maybe this could be something you could request. I'm curious what type of data there already is on what the Department of Health Services has provided in similarities. If they're saying that they can pick this up, how often are they really doing this? And then again, might be out of your purview, but I'm curious what their capacity is like how many staffers they have dedicated to something like this, because if we're going to pull our one person and then expect to dump all this on that one service, you know, and they have 2 people doing it, I'm just kind of curious as to whether or not they can keep up with that load.
So just for the record, the mayor did not say that they're going to pick up the load of the CCC. We, in our sharing Monday with him on some of the sacrifices we made in this budget, the CCC person came up because we were going through some of the positions we were reducing. Ms. Mulrennan said, well, you reduced one of those last year, didn't you? So she remembered. We said, yeah, so that will mean we'll have 0. I said, and the mayor and I dialogued on how the Department of Health Services can continue to support families. So I don't want to put into the public record that DHS now is going to pick up our load. Let's stop that right there, because it would be bad for one of my partner colleagues to think I'm giving them our job. So I don't know what DHS completely does, or their capacity, or their individuals. So, but I can Google it right now and see what they do.
That is what they, I mean, this is what they do. I mean, if there's a community member that is struggling with heating their home, people go to, that's where you go there, they're gonna help you. You know, in addition to 211 and all those other community services, but right here in town, that's where people say to go. So that is what their basic role is to provide community support.
And we have really great partners. So beyond this, like before CCC was a thing, like we were connecting families
Right,
to
that was my point
services,
before.
right? So Women's Inc., a small female grassroots group of women meet regularly, and they collect money and they're constantly giving. United Way. We know some local owners of businesses that our schools know they can connect and say, hey, we need a gift card for. Food to Kids gave lots of gift cards at the holiday time for families who were on free and reduced lunch, not, families who received food on Friday, they got extra. So there are partners in our community that are already in the ready that our mental health team can reach out to. So not having a CCC is not ideal, but it doesn't mean we are suddenly, on July 1st, not going to be helping families. There are just going to be other ways we'll do it. And it may not be centrally coordinated with somebody. Okay? Sorry if I'm creating confusion.
Ms. Flowers?
No, I think that's helpful. I think like the questions that have been asked will help, I think, ask some further questions. Like, I agree with Adam. I'm concerned that there will be families fall through the cracks, that the city's overwhelmed. So I think this data that Hannah has asked for, I think will be really helpful. Because I also have concerns that this is gonna.
I just don't want to speak for the Department of Health Services and what they can and can't do. I wouldn't want to put myself in that position of, do they have the capacity, do they have the skill set, et cetera. So what we could provide is what Ms. Tedros asked for, pardon me. And then we could follow up with any other questions you have. Is that okay?
We good? All right, we'll go on to the next. Number 6.
Question 6. Please explain the reduction of 1.2 special education teachers. How will this impact the increased need we keep hearing of? Staffing is not being reduced. 1.2 FTE salaries will be funded by the IDEA grant rather than through the general fund.
So it's just a shift.
It's just a shift.
Is that clear to everybody? Ms. Wolf-Whiten?
Can you just remind us how long the grant is for?
Well, if this one's under IDA grant,
Yeah.
IDA grant is continuous, then we
So-
can qualify right now.
So you get it every year, it's not
Yes, there's a
something
different
that-
percentage every year based on our number of identified special education students that we have in the district.
So then this should potentially continue. If we shift it
If
over,
our
we're not
percentage-
going to have to look next year to shift it back.
That is correct.
Although sometimes I think we do
No,
shift
there
back and
is an
forth.
ebb and flow, though.
Okay, there is an.
There is an ebb and flow. So year after year, we make a decision based on enrollment, number of students, the money we're getting. So the revisiting of the IDA grant is a pretty regular, common thing. I think if you go into last year's budget, Ms. Wolf-Boynton, you'll see we moved positions off a grant. So this is just a common bookkeeping item for us.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ms. Doyle?
And just clarify,
Yes.
if necessary, if a student was identified mid-year in the school year, if we needed to hire another teacher, we would hire another teacher in this area because we were required to, and if we did.
You mean if our enrollment went up with
Yeah,
special
which
education
are
and we
required.
need to hire additional staff? I mean, that is something we would have to revisit at times.
Yeah.
Obviously, if our classrooms were to capacity with the caseloads and whatnot.
Right. And so I think it's coming back to, this is such a a constantly fluctuating situation with enrollment and teacher needs and
That
things
is
like that, and with the
correct, yes.
IED, so we could come to September and things might need to change.
It's less likely to add FTEs in the world of special education, and more likely based on enrollment, like at the elementary. While it's not out of the question, it's just less likely. Like, there are times that we've said, whoa, we got more kids identified, or lots of kids moved in with an IEP, and we either had to move FTEs around based on where they landed, or we're saying, okay, but it's not always covered in IDA grant. We might have to go into the general fund, just like we would with the elementary.
Right.
And then ask ourselves, so what are we not doing if we're adding the FTE?
Yes, understand. Thank you.
Ms. Edmonds?
Is there any concern that you have about those federal funds going away or being decreased?
Did you read
Because
the
I mean,
paper
that
today?
is, that is.
There's always.
Did you read the
There's
paper
always
today?
that scare.
Right.
approach, but
In particular, the IDEA grant. I've seen things.
Yes.
yes.
Absolutely. We'll be in a whole heap of trouble. Like, so I think, in today's paper, I think, there's a state where because of how their laws are laid out, the Big Beautiful Bill will hit more quickly than other states. And those districts have already been put on notice that they will likely experience a reduction of grants this year. And there was one superintendent interviewed, and he said that he will likely be handing out pink slips next month, like this year. So we're not getting enough information, Ms. Edmonds, to appropriately forecast what's gonna happen. And that makes me really uncomfortable, because I like to forecast. And we're getting no information.
Some more to come on that.
Yeah, thank you.
You ready to move on? Okay, number 7.
Okay, question 7. Please explain the rationale for moving the ASL teacher role from the certified teachers line, item 11111 on page 17, to the non-certified staff line, item 1129. Is there a difference in salary? And there are 2 related questions for this. The position was posted to be filled following its vacancy at the end of the 2024-2025 school year. As ASL is a specialized role, the pool of qualified applicants was limited. The selected educator brought extensive and relevant experience, but did not hold the specific educator endorsement required for the position. In collaboration with the State Department of Education, the educator's prior classroom experience and expertise were reviewed and applied to support their placement in the role. Because the educator does not currently possess the required certification, the position has been moved from the certified to the non-certified salary line to accurately reflect the status. There is no cost savings based on the salary for the non-certified position, as it is comparable to the contracted teacher salaries. With the non-certified position and the posted certified position that will be filled for the 2026-27 school year, we have a total of 2.0 FTE ASL teachers in the district.
So I think we discussed Monday night. This is what we discussed Monday, Mr. Kapasna, that you have somebody ready to hire for next year.
Yes.
Who's graduating. So this is being proactively forecast for next year,
Yes.
that we'll have 2.
We knew the limited pool, so we were trying to get out there early on.
Any questions on this? Do we still have the same level of growing interest from students for this?
Oh, yes, yes, it is still
I
high in
find that
demand.
very interesting, that kids are really interested in this.
Question, are you ready, Ms. Glennon?
Yes.
Okay. Question 8. Please expand on the 2 teacher leader roles slated to be cut, 1111 on page 17. Teacher leader, cutting 2 from where? How many teacher leaders are there? Page 17. The 2 teacher leaders were reduced from the instructional division in the 25-26 school year after the budget was adopted in May of 2025. Therefore, this is a budget-to-budget adjustment. Currently, we have 1 teacher leader for preschool remaining at the district level. We have reduced 7 teacher leader positions in the last 2 years. Please see the attached addendum that documents the changes at the central office from school years 2023 through 2027.
So the addendum is, was it that other thing that you gave us?
It's the organizational chart, Ms. Glennon.
Oh, okay, all right. So the reductions that you're talking about, the 7 were district
Correct.
people not, so each elementary school still has?
Yes, each elementary school has their teacher leader.
So each elementary school still has a teacher leader, and then there's 1 remaining at the district level?
That is correct. It's for preschool.
Questions on this? Scobie?
I'm sorry, I'm sure I've heard this tons of times, but can you just elaborate more on what the teacher leader's responsibilities were? And if it was just like an extra stipend for somebody that was already in the system type of thing?
No, so it was a dedicated staff position, and they were responsible for going in and supporting curriculum development work.
The district level?
Yes, district level. Working side by side with teachers in the classroom to support enhancement of instructional practice. They also help to facilitate the work around HQI and district as well. So multi-pronged, and they really help to support some of the school level work across the levels, whether it was elementary or secondary, with some of our instructional priorities.
And then that sounds similar to the coaches that are being used now? Is that?
And similar role, the instructional coaches are specific to either literacy or numeracy, and they work within each school, so they're dedicated to one school building.
And
Thanks.
the teacher leaders in the schools, the elementary school teacher leaders, their role, we still have them, so
Yep.
their role.
Elementary teacher leaders are there to help support the work of administration, so they'll often deal with some of the minor student behavior issues, contacts with families, again, connecting families with resources if needed. Schedules, yeah, morning bus duty, afternoon bus duty, dismissal.
So at the elementary level, they basically support the principal, and at the
Correct.
district level, they were supporting
Teachers.
teachers within,
Supporting the principal sounds like they have a special assistant, but they're working with the principal to support the school.
right, yeah. And then the coaches have their distinct role within each, that are more specific classroom.
Elementary coaches.
Yeah, elementary coaches,
Yep, working with teachers as well as students.
right, correct.
There's that student connection for our coaches.
Questions? Ms. Flowers?
Sorry, I just want to understand this. So there's one teacher leader in each school,
Each of the elementary schools.
so 8.
Yes.
And then there's the teacher leader preschool at central office.
Correct, who works globally across the system to support preschool.
So they travel to the schools?
Yes.
And one of the primary responsibilities of that teacher leader is to oversee birth to 3 identification. So that's a big part of her job.
So there's no, okay, I got it.
The teacher leaders at the elementary were here well before I got here, and I don't know when they were put in place, but
I don't remember. But they were, basically to support an extra layer of support for the principal at the elementary level.
just as, because there's no assistant principal at
Right,
the
a
elementary
lot
level.
of schools have assistant, a lot of districts have assistant principals, even if they're in their elementary schools, so.
Yeah.
Good to move on. Okay, number 9.
Number 9. Okay, thank you. How is the spending on computers broken down? Page Roman numeral 15. The spending breakdown by school is available in Appendix K on page A23 of the budget book. The computer leases cover student and teacher Chromebooks.
So this is the breakdown of the cost of computers being purchased in this budget on page 23, right?
Yes.
It's basically one per school.
It covers the leases of the computers that are basically already, the Chromebooks that are already here.
Oh, the lease payment, right, okay.
Yep.
Questions?
So, sorry,
Yep.
so this cost is essentially leases,
That's correct.
no new computers,
Yes.
and new computers.
No, there's
No new
no new
computers.
computers.
So there's no new computers being bought for the district?
That is correct.
What about grades 6 and 9?
Not this year.
Okay.
We deferred it for this year.
So then when new students come in, since we're giving Chromebooks to kindergartners, what do they get?
So new students will get a Chromebook. We have a we saved some this year to be able to do this.
Okay.
And for kindergarten, not every student's gonna get one. We're gonna do like a bank of them for each school.
So it's changing.
Yes.
Okay. I'd love to hear more about, not now.
Was that in a?
There is
PDF
a,
page?
there's another question that.
I think so.
There is another question about that.
There's another question about it. So all kindergartners will have access to a Chromebook, but it'll just look different.
Ms. Wilhelm?
When was the last time we upgraded and received new devices?
So we have a refreshment cycle of every 5th grade and 9th grade get replacements, as well as, prior to this year, every kindergarten got one. So there's 3 times they're replaced.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Next question.
Okay, I have the next question too. The deferred money on devices for students and teachers, can you explain how this is not a priority since students and staff need up-to-date devices? Doesn't it impact students negatively? Up-to-date devices are always a priority. However, all the current devices that we have are still eligible for all security updates. While the shift in funding means that some repaired devices may show minor cosmetic wear, their internal functionality will not be compromised. Sorry. Take off my glasses to read.
So they're all going to work correctly? And
Yes.
do what they need to do? Ms. Doyle?
Thank you. I think last year there was a discussion about the Windows 10, Windows 11 issues and things like that. We've been able to
Yeah,
take care of all of those issues, so
we are
everything
up to
is,
date on all
all of those
computers,
issues.
computers that need to be, for security purposes.
Right, okay, just checking. And because you're still doing all of these kind of in-house repairs wherever possible to double check all the security and make sure these are functioning and
Absolutely.
all of those things. Thank you.
Mhm.
Mr. Scobie?
I'm just curious, I don't know if you'll know every single piece of software that you're offering in the district, right? But I assume a lot of the software that is used isn't exactly going to be the most intensive, aside from things like CAD programs and things like that, right? So it's not like we're really taxing these computers that much to begin with, is that safe
Correct,
to assume?
correct. Most applications that we're using in district are web-based, and we try to push that way for the purposes of being able to get an affordable Chromebook as opposed to, a like high-powered laptop to run CAD and stuff like that. And we still have, we've, been fortunate with the board to support us in getting devices in the past. So we're delaying a year. We're not, we're not, the devices we have right now are sufficient for this coming school year.
Thank you.
Okay, next question. Series 1000 we're on to.
Sorry, I was looking at another question that I have to talk to Lou about in a minute, so get back to you. All right, number 11. Costs for admin, teachers, secretary, and custodian at the academy are nearly $1 million. $974,383 for just those positions mentioned, not included part-time, subs, etc. With a decrease from 35 students this year to 22 students next year, can you describe the rationale for continuing to support operations of such a small program? The Academy continues to be a valuable resource to some of our most vulnerable students who have not been successful in our comprehensive high schools. The number of students enrolled at one time at the Academy fluctuates throughout the school year. At the time of providing this response, 41 students currently attend the Academy. This program ensures that students who may have been at risk for dropout from school remain on track for graduation through credit completion. This is evidenced by increasing number of graduates from the Academy program over the last several school years. Additionally, there are a number of students who receive specialized instruction at the Academy due to individual needs. If we did not have an alternative setting, there would be a high likelihood that some, if not many, students would need an out-of-district placement, driving costs significantly up.
So I remember last year having a discussion about something similar. There were 3 programs operating out of the academy. There,
The regular day program, the after-school, we call it the PM program. And there are some of our students who have been expelled that receive instruction there. And some of our transition programs.
okay. And the number of students who receive specialized instruction at the academy, are they part of the day program or?
They can be part of any of those three.
them? Okay. Ms. Wolf-Boynton?
I just wanted to comment that I think that one of the recurring things that we have heard over the years, and one of the most powerful things that we have heard over the years, is how the academy has not just helped students be successful, but how having that individualized school where they are in a much smaller facility and in a much different atmosphere than they would have gotten at Jonathan Law and Foreign High School has literally saved lives. So I just kind of want to go on the record saying that $1 million is money well spent.
And that sum of money is extended throughout all three programs, correct? I mean, it supports all three programs.
Without going into each one of those lines to ensure, like, I don't believe that there is a secretary there in the afternoon. So no is the answer to that.
Okay.
So,
I will also, just to echo what Ms. Wolf-Boynton just said, for the benefit of new board members, when we're invited to graduations at the end of the year, and the graduation ceremony for the academy is something that I would strongly recommend everybody try to get to, because it really is special and impressive. You'll walk away with just such a full feeling in your heart, truly, so.
and the projection is actually inaccurate. It is every year, because we have a rolling admission at the academy. So we just give it a best guess. So 22 actually is not going to be 22.
I think we talked about that last year too, that that was the number on October 1st, but kids can be transitioned to the academy at any point
time,
during
right.
the year.
And we're also creating a way that 8th graders may be able to start at the academy. I think we have one 8th grader actually there. And it's my dream to expand the academy, actually not close it. I have big dreams for the academy.
I think we've had about 20 kids per year graduating. over
The last 2
several
years have been 20 plus, yeah.
Any-
Questions?
Yes, Ms.
It's not a
Flowers?
question, I just wanted to echo both of you that I had a really nice opportunity to go, well, we were all invited, but I was able to go because it was during the day, to the Academy's Veterans Thanksgiving Day. And it was really wonderful to sit and talk to those students and meet the principal and meet the instructor, some of the instructors. I didn't know that those kids make their own lunch. I thought that was absolutely fabulous. And they had a kitchen, and one of the students was talking about how she wants to be a chef. Anyways, it was just, I walked away just so happy that I had done that, and I hadn't been there before, so I was glad that I had. So I concur that I fully support the Academy, and I hope that it can be expanded. So, I mean.
That's on record.
I mean.
Yeah, I think it's a program that a lot of districts wish they could have. A lot of districts probably die to have it. And I think Shelton just started one, if I'm not mistaken. But, I mean, I've heard that over the years, I've heard that said, anecdotally.
And I think Milford does it the right way with dignity. We're not just shoving those children in a basement hallway and giving them something inferior. This is the right way to provide an alternative setting. So.
And it's been in place for decades. I mean, it's correct, well before. I don't have off the top of my head when it was first introduced, but it's been a really, really long time.
20 years.
Yeah, I would say more. I think it's been around since.
I think it's been around since I was in high school, which was a while ago.
Okay.
5 or 6 years ago?
I just want to follow up.
Yes, Ms. Giroux?
Dr. Katana, because this is typically when enrollment goes up in the next month or so, after midterms finally happen, and, there's a lot of anxiety across that, so we're not seeing quite you know, there's 41 students there now, but there may be more. It's, you know, high school's a tough transition.
Yeah,
So-
midterms, this can be the time where our numbers start to go up a bit. We're trying to change that, that's why I'm kind of hesitating on, but yeah, because of the natural cycle of stress, anxiety, getting toward the end of a school year, your grades are coming in mid-year, it doesn't look good, you might need to accelerate, and the only way to do that would be at the academy.
Yeah, I remember we had a woman speak about it last year, and it was very powerful to hear her comments about how important the school was to her success long-term. And so I fully believe in providing the best educational opportunities to kids, and if that's, and expanding the academy seems like an option that we should.
What's the saying, you can't put a price tag on the value of this school? Like you can't look at the dollars on this one, because the value exceeds it so much greater than that. Anything else?
I actually
Ms. Flowers?
I'm sorry, I do have a question, because in your statement of expanding, and I didn't realize that there are towns that don't have these schools. I mean, is there an opportunity for students from out of town to come, and that district pays for that student to come?
Yeah, there's a lot to think about that, on doing that.
Okay.
So yes, and we do the research and the homework on that, but
I just thought maybe, I don't know. I
yeah,
mean-
revenue. I like it.
But also a lot of work, a lot of, I think it goes on both sides. You bring in the revenue, but it probably would,
You're bringing in a population with very high needs.
yes, yeah.
So you have to consider all of those items where there's an opportunity to give and save more lives, but we have to be sure that we have the right resources to support that level of need.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Well, but I was unsure if, because we pay for some of our students to go
Yes.
out of district, which I'm sure those costs are not inexpensive.
Correct.
So is there an opportunity for us to do something similar with the academy? And I am
Yeah.
not an expert here, but I thought I would throw that out.
No, good thinking, yep, thank you.
Anything else? All right, move on to the next. Number 12.
Number 12, please discuss how you were able to maintain the same number of high school social workers for, but lower the proposed salary by $43,715, whereas the proposed salaries for elementary school, middle school social workers increased by $17,769 and $8,074 respectively. Without changed quality of roles, in addition, please discuss why there are only 2 social workers at the middle school level. Do they work across buildings? And an additional question comparable with it was also, how are savings being achieved through reductions to social workers, paraprofessionals, and security-related services? So, there is no reduction in full-time equivalent FTE positions for social workers or paraprofessionals. The identified savings are the result of natural attrition. Specifically, several employees at the highest contractual pay step have retired and have been replaced by new hires at lower entry-level steps. This allows the district to maintain the same level of student support while reducing overall salary expenditures. Additionally, positions funded through grants are not included in the general budget. We have a 1.0 FTE social worker at each of the 3 middle schools. The 14 FTE positions identified on the FTE page only represent the staff paid from the general fund. The other 1.5 FTE social workers are paid through grants totaling a total of 15.5 FTE social workers in the district. We have not eliminated any positions. That is the case for paras and for the social workers. The decrease in security services reflects a decision to pause the window glass filming project for the upcoming fiscal year. This is a reduction in project spending and not our safety and security practices or systems.
Questions or clarifications needed? So again, this is just kind of shifting of where the funds are coming out of, pretty much. Okay?
Yeah, and the level of
Right, yes,
where they
the
are
level, yeah.
for salary, correct. but the same remain at the different building levels. I have number
Clear on this? Okay,
Number
next one.
13 as well. Please discuss the logic behind increasing the homebound salaries by 37% from $175,000 this year to $240,000. Expenditures for homebound instruction have seen significant growth in recent years, reaching $240,150 in the 24-25 school year. This upward trend is driven by an increase in the number of students qualifying for homebound services due to medical documentation, as well as student expulsions, stipulated agreements requiring alternative educational settings. This account is experiencing the same exponential growth seen across various special education categories, as the district remains committed to meeting its legal obligations to provide instruction regardless of a student's ability to attend school in person. As illustrated by the data below, these costs have risen by approximately 36% over the last 3 years. In 22-23, it was $176,652. 23-24 was $190,744. And in 24-25 was $240,150.
So is this account typically budgeted based on the existing need and what you know might be coming?
Correct. Yes.
Any questions? All right. Number 14.
Question 14, please discuss why Mathewson is the only elementary school slated to have 4 FTE for maintenance/custodian instead of 3, listed on page 6 in section 11. The discrepancy in FTE, which is full-time equivalent, count for Mathewson is primarily an accounting function related to the specific timing of the data report. When the data was extracted from our system, the district was in the midst of shifting staff between buildings to align with seniority requirements and current staffing needs. While the snapshot showed a temporary overlap, the total number of FTEs across the district remained unchanged. This administrative transition has since been finalized in our system to accurately reflect the current staffing. Mathewson is assigned 3 custodians, and East Shore is assigned 4.
So will that change be made in the document, or can it not be at this point?
We could certainly provide an updated one, or we could.
Well, when
do
it goes
once
to
the-
print, for instance.
Yes, when we have the word, it would be updated, yes.
Any questions?
Just a quick one.
Yes.
So does West Shore and Harborside each have 4 as well? Is that how that dynamic worked? Each Shore was down 1, but now it's kind of balanced out with the other middle schools?
Yeah, so West Shore has 4, and Harborside has 3.5.
Depends on square footage?
Based on square footage, yeah, based on need, after-school programming, there's a number of reasons why that might vary slightly.
Any other questions on that?
Question 15. Please discuss the rationale for an increase in FTE at Live Oaks from 23.65 to 25.35. 1111 on page 2. We added 1 FTE kindergarten, and the .7 FTE world language is not an addition, but rather an assignment/accounting adjustment for the current staff. There are 8 world language teachers that serve the elementary schools. Based on enrollment, the assignment of these teachers may change year to year due to fluctuations in the number of sections at each school.
Questions on this? Okay, next one.
Question number 16. What is the one addition for teachers, regular ed at $112,000, page 2? The addition is the teacher of literacy and student services. Last year, we had a designated teacher leader with multiple responsibilities, including addressing the dyslexia needs of identified students as required by state mandate. When reconsidering the dyslexia needs of students, we reimagined the position of the previous teacher leader. This teacher is starting on February 9th, next month, 2026. In prior budget cycles, the position was funded through a grant. However, due to changes in responsibilities of this position, it no longer meets the criteria for grant funding.
So this is basically a reimagining and replacement for the special ed teacher leader that was previously in district?
Correct. But not in a teacher leader role.
Right, okay.
Will full-time be providing services to students and consulting on student cases.
And this person will handle the same duties that the teacher leader was handling, plus it's an expanded role?
No, so we'll have no teacher leader responsibilities. But the teacher leader that was there prior had specialized training in dyslexia specialized instruction. And she provided that for consult on teams who were handling students with possibly dyslexia who were being tested for dyslexia, and providing, in some cases, direct instruction to kids. But also part of that person's job was teacher leader work that Mr. described.
Professional.
And there is specialized training on that. Like it's finding a unicorn in some cases of someone who has the reading background and Wilson and OG. Those are just words that we use here in our field. So this person will do that full time.
So that I understand then, what you just described is a state mandated requirement that we have somebody that
we have to be able to meet those needs.
Those needs.
And
And
the
the
most
teacher
cost-
leader was able to do that because of her training.
Yes.
But she had other
But
responsibilities.
she had other
as well.
responsibilities that.
This is
have
solely
been-
to do
okay.
individualized or small group specialized instruction to
Across the
those stu-
district.
across the district, to those students that are identified, and if we need to evaluate
Okay.
additional students.
Or attend PPTs,
Correct.
look at assessments and data, make recommendations for programming.
All right.
And they can also be a resource to other staff, but that's not their primary role, but they'll have the skill set.
And the grant that this was being funded had a key component that was related to professional learning, and therefore the teacher leader qualified to be funded through there. But because we dropped off the professional learning, ethically, we can't keep it on that grant.
Right, okay.
Just as a curiosity, is it just at the elementary school level, or is it?
No.
No, this
still
is
middle school?
district-wide, all the
Dyslexia
way,
is
elementary, middle,
dyslexia.
and high school right now.
Okay.
This is a significant need in our district and nationally, but right here, as I came in, I'm seeing it, and this is going to really make a big difference.
I imagine, and I can be wrong, about with the way the changes in literacy have occurred over the last few years, that there may have been some children that were not identified younger years, and now we're getting services and things.
Correct, yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this? Ms. Flowers?
Was that grant money able to be shifted anywhere else?
Yes.
It's in one of the questions.
Okay.
Good job, Ms. Flowers.
Well, thank you, Ms. Doyle, because you asked my other question, so.
It's in another question, right?
Yes.
Okay, we're good on number 16. We'll go on to 17.
Number 17, please expand on the MS, middle school, and high school FTE roles slated to be cut 1111 on page 2. Why do staffing reductions at several schools not align with enrollment projections? If you look at the 25-26 FTE column on page 2 in section 1111, you will note that there is a reduction of 18 FTEs. At the time of the 25-26 adoption, we knew we needed to cut 18 FTEs after the final adoption in May 2025, but because of contractually required procedures, those reductions and movements of teachers were not finalized until late summer. Those reductions are now reflected in the 26-27 proposed budget.
So am I understanding that the negative 18 that's shown on the 25-26 column
In parentheses, yes.
has now been incorporated into the 26-27
Correct.
data?
Correct, and it's spread throughout those schools.
Okay. Does that make sense? It's complicated.
So there's no cuts? There's
So
one.
so this 18 here were cuts that were made in our last budget cycle.
Right, I meant in the new 2026, 2027 column. Because what looks like cuts is just reflected of the 18. Reflecting the 18.
Yes, so when you see a change
Yep.
from, the one school to the
Yep.
next from those columns,
Mhm.
it doesn't necessarily mean that there was a cut in that
Yep.
column there.
Okay.
It could be a shift of FTE based on student need as well.
Okay.
Everybody good with that?
Clarify.
Yes, Ms. Doyle?
Thank you. Just as a point, we've actually added 4 in some, 4.3? My math is right, FTEs?
I'm sorry, Ms. Bowles.
Sorry, we were consulting.
It's okay. On page 2, looking at 2025 to 2026, we've actually added 4.3 FTEs.
Yes, so the FTEs it's a complicated process. When you look at that FTE page on 2, it says 3.5 total changes to certified staff. When you look at that at the surface level, it looks like we would be adding 3.5 certified staff.
Not on 2, on 17.
Oh, I'm sorry, on 7.
No, on 2. 2 was right.
Well, on page.
Roman
Oh,
numeral
Roman
17.
And 17 is also spelled out.
I apologize. Roman numeral 17 was the one that I was referring to.
It's fine, it's
Similarly, yes. So on Roman numeral 17, it shows that there is an addition of 3.5 total changes to certified staff. This is a reflection, so when we have a reduction of that 18, we now have our set number of FTEs that need to be reduced based on position. That doesn't necessarily mean that we know those exact positions, who those people are gonna be at that moment. There's seniority, there's a number of shifts that need to occur. So those are then implemented as a part of that cut for the adopted budget. As we get closer to the enrollment needs, we are then able to finalize where those actual cuts are. From one budget cycle to the next, there may be shifts that occur in late summer. For instance, this is a normal practice. We have students that move into a district, that changes the number of students that we have slated for a kindergarten classroom, and it goes above our threshold for a number of students that we would have in that classroom, meaning for us to now open up a new section. This happens at various levels. It may happen we may need to add a chemistry class at the high school, which would be a .2 FTE. So these shifts occur after the budget has already been adopted. But it's based on student need, and we need to open those sections and add those. So what this accounting here on Roman numeral 17 does is accounts for those shifts that were approved, but also the adjustments that we needed to make in the late summer based on student
Okay.
need. So that's why it looks as if we were adding 3.5 certified staff for next year.
But you've already added
some
that.
of these have already been added into this year's budget as a result of student needs to make sure that we have the classroom staff that we need.
Got it. Thank you.
And
So Ms.
So-
Flowers puts out a question, are there any reductions this year in the proposed budget?
so we are reducing a high school position across both high schools, a 1.0 FTE.
And the position is just unknown at this point because you
Correct.
don't know what you're gonna need.
Yes. And it'll likely be decided by retirement, number of students enrolling in certain classes, et cetera. So in full transparency, the ups and downs are hard to see what is actually being cut. So the only level we're reducing is .5 at each high school.
Okay.
Okay.
And we are adding an elementary based on projections.
And a .5 is part-time?
So,
It's 2.5 days.
yeah,
So, yeah. And a .5 FTE doesn't necessarily translate into a half-time person. It could be spread out across people. So FTE does not always equal people.
Okay.
that's the tricky part. And when you look on the section 1111, where you see a school that has 26.35 staff, it's not as clean.
not a third of a
It's not a
person?
third of a person, no. So it's not as clean cut as that.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
It becomes an accounting piece at that point, how that person's being paid.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
To a little more clear, like the 0.5 FTE, so if you imagine, if it's a 10-day cycle, are the teachers responsible for 10 days and at a time? 5 of them are worked at one school, so they're counted as a 0.5 at that school. The other 5 are at another school, so that person has 0.5 at that other school as well, which equals
Okay.
their full-time position. It's
Okay.
just they're part-time at each school.
Yeah, okay, that's helpful.
So that's why
Thank you.
it's a full person for this situation, but it's split across 2 schools, so you would see 0.5 and 0.5, which then would result in some of these
Yeah,
uneven
yeah,
FTE counts.
okay. Thank you.
Is everybody good with that? Okay, move on to the next.
Okay, question 18. Please discuss the anticipated impact of cutting summer school services, page 4. The reduction of summer school services will limit opportunities for learning beyond the school year for several students. The elementary summer program, as well as the middle school math and literacy academy programs, will not run in 2026-2027. This reduces programming for students that could benefit from additional support, primarily in these 2 areas. The credit recovery program at the high school level will continue to run as in prior years.
And your rationale for this was?
So we took a look at last year's enrollment numbers. Typically, we would work with our student assistance teams at the schools, elementary and middle, to determine families that we'd want to reach out to recommend the additional time over the summer. Last year, elementary-wise, we had 32 students. We offered to rising first through 3rd graders, and 32 students across those 3 areas participated. Similar to that, at the middle school level for the numeracy academy, we had 28 students total, and the literacy was 15 students. So looking at that as, the 43 students across those 2 programs. So low enrollment was one of the areas that we looked at when we made the decision. Obviously, sustaining the credit recovery program. This is continuing to make sure that students stay on track to graduation with credit attainment, being able to restore the credit. We'll talk about later on in one of the questions about the after-school program and looking at that as an opportunity at the high school level to do some of that work during the day and support some of the academic needs as well.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions on this? Ms. Wilhelm?
Does that affect ESY at all, or is that
It
completely
does not.
separate?
ESY is a completely separate program, and that is through the Pupil Personnel Services Department.
Thank you.
ESY means extended school year, and it is a required part of the federal IDEA to provide services for students with IEPs who potentially will have learning loss over the summer. So not every child with an IEP gets it, but we must, at the PPT table, talk with parents about whether it is appropriate for that child. So ESY, extended school year, is not impacted.
Thank you.
Just a little mini lesson for others.
Ms. Whitten?
So just for clarity, so elementary and middle school, summer school will take place this summer, but not next summer.
Correct. There won't be anything in the month of,
July.
for next summer, yes.
July
So-
27.
So if over the course of the school year, next school year, it was determined, like, wow, there are so many kids who could have benefited from this, would there be an opportunity to,
Find the money?
yeah, apply for a grant, find the money, yes,
No.
and make it happen? Or would this be a done deal? Like, it's just not gonna happen?
No, I think it's bad business to say if we find money, we budget to what we need. I think, to your point though, if kids need support, we're gonna provide it. We're gonna provide it during the school year. If there's a grant, we'll jump on it.
How do you feel about this cut?
All right, so honest answer, not that I am
Please.
ever not honest with you, you know that. I think Mr. Altieri has a brilliant idea that could actually resurrect summer school, and he has come to me for 2 years with it. but we have not been able to fund it. And that is to reimagine summer school and make it an enrichment program where literacy and math supports are integrated. And that not only would attract students who may need an extra boost in literacy and math, but students who would love to come and do a drama play in July.
I love
Or do robotics in July, or
Cooking.
do a scout venturing class in July. But you're also doing reading, writing, and math. So I think because of the dwindling number, and from a number perspective, this investment is not hitting the target audience that we want to hit, Ms. Wolf-Boynton. So we haven't envisioned these kids that need extra help, but they're not coming. And so we're staffing it as if they are coming, and therefore we're overstaffing a program with really small numbers. So if Ms. Autieri ever gets an opportunity to launch this enrichment, you don't have to pray about it. And I'm in full support of it. It just needs to make a budget. And I think if you recall, we reduced this year's budget. Didn't we cut 60,000 of the enrichment?
Yeah, yes, originally we
Yeah.
were going to try to pilot at the elementary level and launch an enrichment. We started meeting early on in the year and built a catalog that went out to families, and we had very little enrollment. So we reverted back to the current process of the academic support and have thought about how do we market it going forward. We don't want to put something out there, again, that was low enrollment that we're investing a lot of money into.
So I don't mind that we're reducing this, but I would love to reduce this and add the other thing simultaneously. So it'll be a year pause for us.
Okay, thank you. I like the word pause.
Ms. Edmonds?
Can you speak to any conversations or collaborations that have taken place with the community organizations in Milford that support our students during the summer with regards to taking this program away?
I have not had any direct conversations with any external organizations regarding summer programming. We do, as kind of another level to it, we do put out a series of summer resources that families can access through our webpage. Our supervisor team works on that later in the spring. We also try to channel in some of the resources that are provided by the Connecticut State Department of Ed around summer reading, summer math. But I have not had any external conversations with organizations regarding summer school or summer learning programs.
What about for the enrichment part of, or the goal that may not have panned out this
Yeah.
past year?
So we put out a request for proposals from our staff, and we had a lot of staff who submitted and wanted to facilitate, as Dr. Kataya was mentioning, these programs that intertwined the academic support with the enrichment opportunity. We had a lot of great offerings, and I was really disappointed not to see it get a little more traction, but it may be just some more of the marketing from us as we look to build that program out.
I think you have to do something like that very
in
early,
advance.
Yeah.
very, very early, because parents, they're already making their plans for summer at this point.
Yeah, we started early winter last year
Yeah.
with getting it out to families and closed it down right around April break, so we had the chance to be able
Okay.
to
Yeah,
assess
That's surprising then.
yeah.
I
Ms.
have
Flowers?
a quick question. So obviously, I think everybody would like for that enrichment program to be a free offering, just like summer school. But if to get that off the ground, there was a nominal cost to families, would that help?
I mean, obviously, it would always help to sustain and support. I always worry about anytime we assess a fee, and we'd have to look at it, making sure that we don't take away equity of access to any family or any student. We'd want any of our programs, and you know, Dr. Kataya and myself are strong advocates for making sure that every kid has access to every opportunity we offer. So
Of course.
I just wouldn't want anything to be cost prohibitive.
Sure. Just a thought.
Yeah, thank you, I appreciate that.
Ms. Edmonds?
Sorry. What was the scheduled time frame for the program that got cut? Was it like a full day?
You're talking about the enrichment or the summer school program that?
I'd be interested in both, just out of curiosity.
I will tell you that the elementary program runs for 4 weeks. The credit recovery also runs basically a full calendar month. The middle school literacy and numeracy academies ran for 2 weeks each, so they kind of abutted each other. Literacy ran and then the math ran right after it. I was looking at something where it would be that like 2 weeks, like we'd offer a couple different sessions, like a session A, session B, if we were gonna map out the enrichment opportunities. That way, if a family didn't wanna dedicate the whole summer, or if we had staff that could do one session but not the rest of the month, there was a little more flexibility for us to create sessions related to student interest.
Thank you.
That it? Okay, number 19.
Okay, I have number 19. Coaches and advisors, what is being added? What is the increase? Where is the narrative? No positions have been added to this account. All increases here are based on the 26-27 contractual rates, and that would be in the MEA contract.
So coaches and advisors, these are athletic coaches we're talking about, correct?
They're athletic coaches and other activity staff.
Activity advisors.
Yep.
So, let's see. So I think the increase is just normal salary adjustments, correct?
Contractual, yep.
Can you see a list of these, Ms. Glennon, at the monthly TMD reports?
Correct, yep, we do. And then there's the,
And there's a list in the book.
there's a list in the book on page A15 that lists them all out. And if I was looking at it, let's see. Yeah. Right, here's a list that has all the salaries. So I think, well, so it's not an increase of people, it's just, the increase in the budget line is simply the normal salary increases that come with the positions,
Yes,
which is contractual.
correct.
Any questions? Ms. Flowers?
I know that there's a number of, I think, positions available, in like coaches and currently like soccer coach and things like that.
There's always.
There always is,
There's
yeah.
always positions available, yes.
They're posted every year,
They're
right?
So,
They're
and then
posted
if,
throughout the year,
Right.
depending on, yeah.
I mean, that seems to be kind of the bulk in a way of like the list currently is. And then if those positions aren't filled, that money is then just redirected somewhere
They're
else?
typically mostly all filled.
Oh, they are?
These stipend positions.
These
yeah,
are?
'cause- Yeah, because
Okay.
for a coach, we need to have somebody on the field or else there won't be a team. For some of these activities, you have, ski club, they're typically
typically
probably
filled.
98% filled, yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All of those counts that are not fully expended, you take into consideration and move them in the months of June and July, or May, June. May through July.
Well, within the full object series, not individually.
Yep, not line by line.
Any questions on that? Move on to number 20.
20. What was the one addition to be determined cut for special education at $65,000 in 25-26 on page 2? This was a reduction of a PPS team leader in the 25-26 budget.
That's the teacher leader that we were talking about before.
Teacher leader was eliminated, correct.
Okay, 21.
Okay, number 21. 10.5 secretaries at central office. This number has not fluctuated in the last 3 budget cycles. How has this number increased, decreased over previous years when looking at enrollment fluctuations for years not depicted in this budget? The secretary's line item encompasses a variety of specialized roles that are essential to the district's daily operations and are not necessarily tied to enrollment. This number has neither increased nor decreased in many years. While the job titles vary, these positions are grouped together because they fall under the same collective bargaining unit. At the central office, some examples of these positions include the payroll supervisor, the purchasing agent, the accounts payable supervisor, and the employee benefits supervisor. So in thinking the last time that we did, it would be a decrease, not an increase, was I think in 2015 or 2016.
We reduced secretary in the teaching and learning department when I first got here.
Teaching, okay, so 2018?
18.
2018, yeah. Any other questions on that one? Okay, 22? Okay, I have 22 as well. Talent Management 3 secretaries, do they report to and support the Director of Talent Management and Development? There is no 1-1-2 breakdown in the narrative. So there are 3 contracted secretaries in the Talent Management and Development Department, and they reflect the 1 department secretary, which supports the whole department, and 2 employees who oversee the employee benefits programs for the district. They're slightly down the hall from us, and they work on all of our medical and dental insurance, disability insurance, life insurance, workers' compensation, and the like. So is that, are those, let's see, 2 employees who oversee the employee benefits program for the district? How does that differ from the employee benefit advisor that you just mentioned in the 10.5 central office people? So she is, both of our benefits folks are a part of the secretary's union. So are they 2 additional people, or is it the same person? There's 2 people in benefits.
In total.
Okay.
It's 2 different questions, so in question 21, we just use that as an example
Oh,
of somebody
okay.
who's
All right,
in
gotcha.
the secretary's union.
Okey-doke. Any questions on that? All set? All right, next question. Got me for 2 more questions here. Question 23, talent management. Is the reduction of 1.0 FTE the elimination of the talent management and development associate director role? And the answer is yes. 24 too. And 24, are the remaining 2.0 FTE roles noted here the Director of Talent Management and Development and the Associate Director of Talent Management and Development? And the answer is no. The 2 remaining FTE roles in account 1129 are the Talent Acquisition Specialist. That is the person who handles the recruiting, hiring, onboarding of all of our new employees. And the Talent Management and Development Coordinator, and this is the person who handles all of our leave of absence programs and our transactions with the payroll department, amongst other things. So the Director of Talent Management is included in the 1120 budget line. Okay. So how many people are in talent management at this point? Okay, so right now, the Director, Associate Director, Talent Acquisition Specialist, Secretary, and Talent Acquisition Coordinator, and the 2 benefits folks down the hall, so 7. And as of this budget, after this budget, it'll be 6. Okay. 3 are contracted secretaries, and the remaining 3 would not be. Confusing, I know.
Can you remind me how many total employees the district has?
It obviously fluctuates based on substitutes in and out, but it's close to 1,300 employees. Between
So I
1,250 and 1,300,
I
somewhere.
have a comment that, reading this and seeing that 1 person oversees the recruiting, hiring, and onboarding of all employees feels really low.
So she oversees the role. However, the associate director and myself, we do some of that as well. And all of our administrators out in the schools are also part of that process. So it's not alone, responsibility. There is a lot of collaboration in that.
I'm still impressed.
Yes, thank you.
They do a lot in that office with the small staff they have for a long time. Ms. Doyle?
Thank you. Didn't we just add the talent management and development associate director position a couple of years ago?
That is correct.
And so what's the impetus for us to decide to?
So, I mean, when we're looking at a budget that's mainly made up of human capital, there's only so many other things we can cut. We have to look at staff at some point. We try to share that responsibility. We cut many teachers last year, so it really isn't fair to go back to teaching and learning. So we have to look at what remains, and although it's extremely difficult and it's gonna be tough, it's not,
Right.
it's, we can absorb some of that work even though it is brand new, but there's so many other things that we wanted to, that we will just be paused on
I know,
for
because
the
that
time being.
It was very difficult to fill the position the first time,
Yeah.
and then the second time
Yep.
as well. There was this, and it's unfortunate that this is.
I agree.
Ms. Whiten?
I just want to echo what Ms. Doyle said, that it's a shame, because we did work you worked so long and hard on creating this reinvigorated department with this assistant, so it is too bad.
Any other questions on that, comments? Right, next one.
Okay, 25, ESOL, and for those who don't know, ESOL stands for English for Speakers of Other Languages. We've rebranded that over the years to be multilingual learners. ESOL cut of 1 FTE. During the 25-26 school year, the district had a total of 4 FTE paraprofessionals for multilingual learners. This is not a reduction. We experienced a retirement to 1 full-time position and have recently been able to fill the role. We're able to add a part-time paraprofessional through our Title III grant funding during the 2024-2025 school year to continue to support student needs.
Sorry, can you explain that again?
The response?
Yeah, so there was 4 FTEs
Yes.
that were reduced.
No, we have 4 FTEs that are paraprofessionals that
Okay.
work directly with our ML students. We had 1 who retired last year,
Okay,
and we've been looking to fill that position, and we're just able to recently fill the role.
okay. Thank you.
Questions, any further questions on that one? Comments? Yes, Ms. Flowers?
You refilled as a part-time role.
We added, through the grant funding, we added a part-time role as well.
So they'll be 4.5.
Yes, the one on the grant does not count towards the general fund, that's
Right.
grant funding.
So if the grant was indicated, it would read as 4.5.
Yeah,
Okay.
just like other areas, we have about 155 students in district that are multilingual learners.
Okay.
So we try to ebb and flow staff based on the number of students.
Yep.
And the part-time para opportunity came up that allowed us to be able to continue to provide additional supports to that demographic of students.
And they float through all the schools.
Correct. They have some assignments between usually 2 schools or so. And then we also have the teachers who are supporting the ML students and doing some of the direct explicit instruction. The paras are there to help support the day-to-day instruction of individual students. So they're working directly with those students.
Okay. Thank you.
Can you restate what the branding was of ESOL?
Yes, so it was originally English for Speakers of Other Languages. We have, across the state, have done a lot of work to recognize the fact that our students bring value and that they possess the ability to speak multiple languages. And we try to not only support the learning of English, but also continue to encourage them to use their native languages. So we've rebranded that, and it's a statewide as multilingual learners, or MLL.
So consistent with our Milford measures and part of that same theme.
Different from Milford measures.
No, what's the graduation one?
Vision of the learner.
At our graduation, portion is we have the ability for students to do multi-languages and.
Are you thinking of SELA
Oh,
biliteracy?
Yes.
These are native.
Yes.
This is MLL is native.
Yeah.
So we also will recognize our native speakers are able to earn the seal of biliteracy in their native language as well.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Edmonds?
I just have a clarifying question, to make sure I'm looking at the right thing. I'm on page 8, and I see a number of 3 in the ESOL line, not 4. And I just want to make sure I'm hearing you that the 0.5, the grant is covering 0.5, but it's not covering 1.5.
Grant is covering 0.5, and I think that that number likely reflects the fact that we did not have the position filled at the time.
Matt?
It's my understanding that the fourth person was hired last week. So at the time, we had 3.0 FTE. The salary, as it was an open position, the salary was budgeted for. But at the time that we pulled the data, there were three FTEs for ESFL in district.
So because it's not reflected as 4 in here, does that mean that it's not budgeted for next year, though?
No, the salary itself was budgeted, but the accurate reflection of the FTEs on staff at the time was 3.
Okay.
So this is another instance where you would, like, if we change that as.
Yes,
like-
Yeah, we'll
absolutely,
revise
So, but the
that.
dollar amount is not going to change, it would just
No,
be the number of.
the total dollar amount budgeted for repairs as a whole reflected that opening.
Okay. So I'm not totally understanding why, if it wasn't filled, but it's budgeted for, it's not reflecting the number that we want to have. I'm not understanding that.
Is it because we didn't think we could fill it?
Well, it was open for a significant portion
Yeah,
of time.
basically.
We were filling the need with the part-time employee with the grant funded that we brought back part-time. The person who retired was the fourth that fiscal year. When we brought her back part-time, we just looked her right in the grant, so it was the same level of coverage. It was our goal to fill it. But because that position was open for such a significant portion of time, we didn't reflect that as 4 FTEs and misrepresent how many that we had.
Mhm.
But we did have that salary set aside in the case that we could fill it.
So the presumption was that you would unlikely to be filled, and you backfilled with half the position where possible,
Mhm.
essentially, and now we think we have 4 people.
Well,
And so we'll
as
continue.
of last week, we do.
Okay, so this 4, it says 33112, so that will change to 4,
Mhm.
which will cause a change in the proposed second line of the 123,700.
No, he's saying that the dollar amount will change, just the number will
The
change.
dollar amount won't change, the FTEs will
Okay.
change.
And that's because they're at the lower level of,
Yes.
in their
Yes.
experience.
Yes.
I know with us, if this was, for instance, a classroom teacher, and it was a necessary position, we would be potentially using substitutes to fill the need while we were trying to hire. I don't know if that's the case with this particular position, but I don't know. It just seems odd to me that, because this is a proposal, so we're proposing that we're gonna have 4. I'm not really understanding why it doesn't reflect 4, so maybe that's a separate conversation to have.
I'd like us to come back to that.
Okay,
Okay?
yep,
We need a little consult time.
okay,
Thanks.
understood. Any other questions on that? All right, we're doing well here. Number 26?
Cruising. All right, so for 26, there's two questions that are similar because they're SSOs, so we grouped them together, but they have slightly different answers, so I'm gonna read both of those and then happy to take answers on both. Questions on each. Question 26, SSOs. Please identify what benefits will be provided and break down the expected cost of those benefits. It is my understanding these will have to be retired police officers who would have benefits under the retirement plan. Why will we offer benefits? In response to that, the benefits referred to in Dr. Kataya's letter are estimated FICA payments for the amount of $33,599. These are Social Security Medicare taxes that the employee pays and the employer is required to match by law. The second part of that question is why are 10 SSOs being suggested? We have 8 elementary schools plus the academy. What is the full-time need of the academy? And the response is, the proposal of 10 SSOs consists of 1 for each of the 8 elementary schools, the academy, and a lead SSO who will assist in professional development / training, safety and security policies and procedures, and daily coverage to help ensure our schools are staffed in the event of an absence. There are students and staff at the academy for the full day. It is our commitment to provide the same level of safety and security to all of our students and staff. The armed school security officer will take the place of the full-time security guard currently at the academy.
Questions on this? All right, thank you.
Okay, I've got question number 27. Please break down how much of sub-teaching services, 3212 on page 14, is spent on the computerized placement program versus how much is spent on grad student interns. The 3212 account has $150,000 budgeted. This account only includes the cost of our interns, whom we attempt to place and staff at each school. We have budgeted for 10 at an average of $15,000 each. We have reduced this number from past years to better align with the number of interns that we are actually able to secure due to the shortage of individuals entering the education field. The teacher in residence program, which was cut for 26-27, would also have been reflected in this account. And the computerized placement program, Red Rover absence, is budgeted in account 4200, contracted maintenance. And that amount, just for your reference, for Red Rover absence is $16,000. Is
that clear? Ms. Edmonds?
First, I want to say I love the idea of graduate interns. I think I had asked this question, and the reason why is because when you read the narrative, the supporting narrative, it does include the computerized program in the narrative paragraph.
Is it really?
So that was the reason why.
Okay.
You know, one thing that I mentioned to Dr. Kataya was perhaps once the budget, I know this is not the time to do it, but once the budget is done, they need to go through and kind of take a closer look at the narratives to make sure the narratives reflect the current, and because things change, to make sure the narratives are currently reflecting what they should.
Can I ask one more question about that? What does that $15,000 cover from a timing standpoint? Like, are they part-time working? How many hours are they working?
The actual, are you talking about the interns?
Mhm.
Okay, so the interns, yeah, we would love to have one in every school, excuse me. And we also allot for 2 at the high schools, 2 at each high schools, excuse me. They work full days, 185 days, full hours, school hours, and serve as our first substitute placement if somebody's out in that school that day, if that school is fully staffed. Excuse me, sorry. A couple of things can happen, and other schools sometimes can borrow them if they're short-staffed, you know, depending on the time of year. Or if not needed in the classroom, they do other things for the school, or they will go and observe teachers to perfect their craft.
Reading here that there's a shortage, I suppose we weren't able to secure the full number that we had budgeted in previous years.
Correct.
I'm wondering if you're aware of whether $15,000 is a competitive stipend for that.
So the actual is not a stipend, it's actually the cost that the universities charge us. So when you are in this program in the various universities, and there's 4 or 5 that we use, the student doesn't pay for schooling because we're paying the university for them to be in our schools. So it's that kind of a
So
setup.
it's just strictly
It's what they charge us, yeah. Yeah, it must be what it costs them.
So it's the fee to the university, it's not a fee to the actual person?
Correct. Yeah.
It's too bad.
Yeah.
Just on the same point, Ms. Evans, is how many are in the schools this year?
This year, oh, I could look that up, but every year it goes down, unfortunately.
Yeah, because if we're at 10, we're not even
Yeah,
going into
and-
school anymore.
Yeah, I will get you that number momentarily.
And
Interns.
for the interns, do they, because there are different certifications, at this point, have they already specialized to which certification they're going for, K through 8 and 6, whatever it is?
Yes, yes, so people who are in elementary programs are in our elementary schools, and subject areas are in the middle schools or the high schools.
Thank you.
So this year we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay.
And those interns will either be the school year, or depending on the program, like Sacred Heart might run January through December, so it'll span 2 different school years.
Thank you.
Questions on that? Right?
Thank you.
Okay, I have the next few. Number 28, please expand on the narrative about mental health services, page 15. The line item 3231 on page 14 totals $100,000, an increase of $40,000 from last year's budget. And the narrative describes it as a consultative services with school-based teams. Please provide a more detailed explanation of how the money is being spent. And there was an additional question added as well, but this includes comprehensive evaluations that are conducted by a psychiatrist for identified students. Students may be recommended for a psychiatric evaluation through the PPT process or as a result of an expulsion stipulated agreement. The psychiatrist consults with the school team to conduct a comprehensive evaluation and develop a plan for appropriate educational programs and services to allow the student to access education safely and successfully. The need for psychiatric evaluations has significantly increased, as well as the cost associated with them.
Questions on that? So this is like the evaluations are a mandated service to a degree, correct?
These are correct, based through a PPT process, or if we have a student that's brought up for our stipulated agreement or expulsion, we want to make sure the safety and well-being of that student as well as the others.
Okay.
And that's why we do the consultation as well as the comprehensive evaluation.
Thank you. All right, next one.
Okay, number 29. Professional evaluations, page 14. It appears in the quarterly budget from 10/1/2025 to 12/31/2025 that from the 25-26 budget of $60,000, the district is currently over budget by $26,905. That is correct. The quarterly budget report demonstrates the continued need for the increased budget proposal of $123,000 for the 26-27 school year. Professional evaluations are required when the pupil personnel department deems it necessary to secure additional information regarding a student, or when the parents, guardians of a student disagrees with the Milford Public Schools evaluation and requests an independent educational evaluation known as an IEE.
I think, does number 30 relate to this?
Number 30 is very similar to that, yes. Would you like me to read that one?
Yes, please.
Okay. What is the percentage of rejected evaluations where these evaluations have to be contracted out? And they would like to know the 24-25 and 25-26 so far. While the district does not track evaluations as a specific rejection percentage, we utilize contracted services to ensure full compliance with federally mandated IDEA timelines. For the 24-25 school year, the district completed 60 contracted evaluations, and to date in the 25-26 school year, we've had the contract for 42 evaluations. These external evaluations are not solely the result of parental disagreement. They are frequently required to bridge gaps during staff vacancies, meet strict legal deadlines when internal capacity is exceeded, or provide highly specialized expertise for complex student profiles. This multifaceted approach ensures that every student receives a comprehensive and timely assessment of their educational needs.
Is that clear for everybody, those two?
Thank you.
Number 31?
Okay. 3302, negotiation legal services. Why the anticipation of the increase? Page 14. We have 4 union contracts coming up for renewal. The para contract, the custodian maintenance contract, security guard contract, and the cafeteria workers. And this increase reflects the amount we anticipate spending for the negotiation processes. While some of the negotiations may start prior to June 30th, most of the costs and the work will be incurred after July 1, so therefore in the 26-27 fiscal year. In addition, we are experiencing higher levels of complex situations with students, staff, and families. Engaging counsel early on in the process helps us to get to a solution more expeditiously and to a place that helps meet the needs of all stakeholders involved. Furthermore, it may prevent further legal expenses down the road.
So, let's see, this line relates to specifically what?
Legal services?
Negotiations and legal services,
Negotiations.
3302.
And 14.
This is all encompassing, right, this line? It's not limited to, say, PPS or, okay,
No, it's all.
Correct, yeah.
all of it,
Roman numeral 7, that's all encompassing.
Yeah,
okay?
because they changed the line on 332 on here, negotiations.
Any questions on this? Okay, thank you.
Question 32. Assuming that the cost falls outside of the LRFP, Long Range Facilities Plan, consultants, please expand on how the architectural and engineering services line item, 3304 on page 14, will be spent. The architectural and engineering services line item, 3304, is dedicated to the professional technical expertise required to maintain our facilities throughout the school year. Separate from the Long Range Facilities Planning, LRFP consultants, this account funds essential safety and design work that cannot be performed by in-house staff. This includes mandatory environmental checks like radon testing, as well as the formal engineering plans required for major infrastructure upgrades, such as the installation of a new large-scale boiler system. Beyond system design, these funds are used for critical structural assessments to ensure our buildings remain safe when equipment is added or modified.
Ms. Doyle?
Thank you. So this example you provided, formal engineering plans required for major infrastructure upgrades. So the major infrastructure upgrades would come through our bonding money. And so in some of our situations, sometimes those engineering plans are included and sometimes they are not. In this situation, is that what we're talking about?
So for this account, it typically would not fall within the bonding because we would try to get that associated with the funding for that bonding. This would come up whereas if we had a new rooftop unit that was going on a roof in a certain location, and we weren't sure whether or not the structural load of that part of the roof would be able to handle the weight of that new rooftop unit, so it's outside of the bonding
Scope.
process.
Outside the
So
scope
it'd be
of bonding.
projects that Mr. Bradbury is regularly maintaining our schools, a new boiler system goes in, we need architectural and engineering designing plans of how best to put that boiler into the small location room that we have there so that it's efficient and can reach all the different areas of the school. So it's more of projects that we are engaging in with our local funds rather than ones that are for bonded money through our facility, permanent schools.
So something like the large-scale boiler system wouldn't necessarily meet our wouldn't be a big enough project to get bonded money, but it's a big enough project to require
some engineering work.
Correct. Typically, we usually use like a loose threshold of like $250,000 when something would be, meet that capital improvement plan threshold, is when it would go through the permanent schools process and bonding. There are large-scale projects, though, that we need to take on because a boiler may fail.
Right.
Which would be a large sum of money, but it doesn't necessarily meet that capital improvement threshold. And furthermore, we wouldn't be able to wait for the timing of that. Because as you're aware, the capital improvement process is a lengthy process.
Right.
And when the
Okay.
boiler's failing, we need to replace that immediately, so.
Okay, and so we didn't do anything in 2024, 2025, it wasn't included in here. So is this just kind of like a reserve? There's nothing earmarked specifically at this moment?
There are some things that Mr. Bradbury has on his list of plan designs that,
Okay.
assuming that this money is approved, that this would be allotted for. But part of it as well is in the event that we need to have an emergent boiler needs to be replaced, or a rooftop unit as well.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that? All right, number 33.
Number 33, 3306, contracted services. Why the significant decrease from the 2023-2024 to the 2026-2027 budget, page 14. This reduction is a result of reduced reliance on consulting services due to increased internal staff, technical expertise to lead and sustain the work. In addition, we are eliminating our contract for individual printer maintenance and supplies.
Are you replacing that with something else?
We're going to handle it in-house.
Okay. Questions? All right, next, we go on to 4,000. We're doing very well here. Maybe we get through the 4,000 series and then see where we're at.
Excellent idea.
All right, question 34.
I say we keep chugging.
Question 34. Please discuss the increase in electricity costs at Simon Lake from $2,648 in 25-26 to $7,133 in the proposed budget, page 18. If it's a city building now and mainly being used for storage and Boys and Girls Club programming, what is the rationale for the increase? So the increase in electricity budget for Simon Lake reflects the rising cost of transmitting and delivering energy. Rather than an increase in the amount of power being consumed by the district, rather than being consumed by the district. Although Simon Lake is a city-owned building, the district continues to occupy approximately 1/3 of the facility for essential resource management, including curriculum materials, consumable STEM supplies, and technological equipment needed for our staff and students. The remainder of the building is utilized by the police department and the Boys and Girls Club. We are responsible only for a proportional share of the building's utility costs.
Makes sense for everyone?
But
Ms.
just
Doyle?
clarifying, so
Yes.
basically, I think what you're saying is, we're doing exactly the same thing, is that the cost has dramatically increased, and our share is just more.
Yeah, I think what that's also doing is looking at the cost that more accurately reflects what we have as well, because when you look at the 25-26
It's back to
proposed,
where it's,
it was lower. However, with the transmitting costs rising, plus what we actually are being charged there from the city side, it's more accurately reflected with that 7,000.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Thanks.
Do we, is that something that we pay, we get a bill from the city to pay that?
Yes,
So we're basically paying what they're telling us to pay? now.
correct.
Questions? Ms. Flowers?
That's really the only cost that we incur with Simon Lake, storing things there.
Yes, correct. So it would be utilities, so it would be the gas to heat the building, the electricity, and there's a small water charge, I think it's less than $500.
Okay.
But it's just utilities. We are not charged a rental fee.
Thank you.
Questions? Okay, the next one.
Question 35, the budget detail table for 4104, Energy Conservation Services, is missing. The budget detail table for Energy Conservation Services, account 4104, was intentionally removed from the budget detail because the account has been inactive for several years. There have been no expenditures recorded in this line item since fiscal year 2020. Because there are no historical expenditures, current year allocations, or proposed funds for the upcoming cycle, the table was omitted to streamline the document and remove sections containing no relevant financial data. However, the account remains within the budget narrative to ensure it exists as a placeholder should funds need to be allocated in future budget cycles.
So was this the account that used to hold the dollars for that conservation program that we participated in?
This one is more about if we wanted to initiate a program, like, for instance, we wanted to convert a building from our current lighting system to LED lights.
Okay.
This would be the funds that we would set aside to engage in that project.
All right,
That's
thank
what it
you.
would be. It would be like an upfront cost
Mhm.
so that we could realize savings in the future over time. But this would be the money that we would use to actually get that project completed.
Are we still expending any funds for that? I know we had that program where we had to have the employee who was making sure all the lights were turned off and stuff like that, which we don't have that anymore.
No, we do not.
And that we're not really utilizing that program at all. I mean, for a while, we had access to the software. I think it was we had access to the software as long as we had the employee on staff, but now we don't have the employee
Yeah,
on
I think,
staff, so
that program there, and just in conversations
it's
with
defunct.
previous administration, that program helped shift some of the mindset and look for some initial things that
It
we
was more
could do
educational. Yeah.
educationally across the district to ensure that we have things in place and that people are cognizant of, you leave the room, do X, Y, or Z. But we also have, since then, put other upgrades in place, like lights that would go off if the room was dormant for a certain
Okay.
amount of time. So over time, there's technology that could be used to help implement that stuff, as well as unplugging certain items over long breaks over the summer period. Those are normal processes that we have in place that Mr. Bradbury may send out a memo to say, make
So
sure
like a
X, Y, Z
checklist?
is,
Right,
yes.
okay.
So things that we're still implementing per se, but not with a formalized person.
All right, thank you. Any questions on that?
Okay. Question 36, electricity. We have solar panels on all of our schools. Why are we seeing these steep increases in the cost of electricity? And why are electricity costs increasing unevenly across accounts while gas costs remain relatively stable? So while it is true that our schools are supported by solar power, electricity costs consist of two distinct components: the energy commodity itself and the infrastructure required to deliver it. The primary driver for the current rate increase is the rising cost of transmission, which is the physical delivery of the electricity to our buildings, rather than the cost of the energy being consumed.
I'm just looking at the last question that was also asked.
Yes.
About the fluctuations.
The fluctuation?
amongst the
Yeah, so
different schools.
There could be a number of reasons for that. So each building has a varying square footage right off the bat. And there's different types of systems that each school may have. For instance, a cooling system may be more efficient because it's newer to the building, which was replaced with a system that was older and may not be as efficiently generating electricity. And as we know, many of our building projects have been deferred, so it could be an older unit there which is accounting for more energy. Each building does have a different amount of solar arrays as well, or different combinations based on location, square footage, tree blockage, things of that nature. So there would be an offset for the amount of solar power that each school would get. And then the other potential change in some of these variations are summer programming. So for instance, based upon Mr. Bradbury's list of summer projects, he may say, this summer we need to go to X school over here and conduct this upgrade. And then the summer program for that school would then shift to a different elementary school, which now you have a program running all summer there, costs more energy, which would cause a fluctuation in price from year over year.
And then Pumpkin Delight,
Pumpkin Delight is definitely one that we are definitely realizing with the addition.
it's additional
large-
square footage.
Additional square footage, and there was also rooftop units added for the
Air conditioning.
air conditioning. So those two things compounded together resulted in such a significant increase in the electricity use for that school.
Okay. It'll be interesting to see what that looks like next year.
Yes.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
So obviously, most of our schools do not have central AC.
Correct.
And like my daughter's school has a window unit, in the classrooms that have window units, which obviously the teachers can turn on and off. Pumpkin has central now, yes?
For part
Central.
of, yeah, for part of the school there.
So do teachers have control over their rooms if they want to turn it off?
No, so those are controlled centrally. So that would be, Mr. Bradbury has a remote access where he's able to monitor room temperature and then adjust the temperature accordingly. So it's not a necessary like up or down from.
For the window units, you can do that?
Oh, for the window.
I was talking to central.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think, I mean, my just thinking is, you have it on, does it have to be full blast? Teachers don't really have control over
No,
that.
not for the central.
Yeah, not for the central, yeah.
Okay.
The wall units are
I mean,
primarily based on student or staff needs.
I mean, but those are adjustable by
Yes.
the teachers, but the central is not.
Yeah, Mr. Bradbury monitors those, and any kind of centralized system like that. We have I think it's called BMS is the system that monitors those, but he's
Okay.
able to, from wherever he is, home, work, most likely
And
he's
he
at
does.
work. He's able to monitor the system and be able to tell whether there's
But mainly
something
he has
down.
average temperatures that he keeps classrooms.
Average
He's not
temperatures,
spending
yeah.
all day playing around with.
No, no,
I hope not.
no.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this? Okay, next.
Question 37, what specific buildings, grounds, and equipment maintenance projects were deferred or removed to achieve the reported reduction? So as Dr. Kataya mentioned in her budget presentation on Monday night, we typically ask Mr. Bradbury, oh, I'm sorry, and yes, in your package, you guys have the list of all the building projects that are on Mr. Bradbury's list. And I just want to rephrase that quickly. That's not all the projects that are on his list. Those are the ones that would make that top. I think some are listed out to be like 7 places. Mr. Bradbury has many more projects on those, on each school's list if we were to afford him that money. Back to that original point, Dr. Kataya in her presentation on Monday had discussed that we typically ask Mr. Bradbury for his top list of one and two priorities for each school in the building and grounds project area. Due to this upcoming budget cycle and knowing that we were going to be faced with some financial hardships, we asked Mr. Bradbury to create a special 0 priority list. And that 0 priority list were items that absolutely must be done, safety, security type items. So when you look at that list that's in your package, you will notice the addition of this new 0, which is a new thing that we have done this year, for things that are absolutely a must-have moving forward, and those are those items listed there. However, we did provide the list of those 1s, 2s, in some cases 3, 4, 5s for each one of those schools. Happy to answer any questions you may have about those.
Is this list school-specific, because there's no school?
Each one, yeah, on the first column.
Oh, I see, okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's just
My bad.
initials for the school.
My bad.
So the 0 items are in the budget?
Yes,
They're
correct.
the only thing in the budget?
Correct.
We need a lot of parking lots.
Oh, I see, 0 in priority.
Yes.
Okay.
So for instance, on that first page there for Cap Pen Meadow, you can see that Mr. Bradbury for building projects, I've listed out 13 priority projects that he has in order of least to greatest. And this list may change as years go on. And an example of that would be something that Mr. Bradbury is projecting. We have 5 years left on its useful lifespan. All of a sudden, something happens and he realizes, oh, we've got about 1 year left. In that next year's budget cycle, that will now move up to a higher priority. So this is a list that he has as a running list, but there may be fluctuations from year to year. But in this actual list here for Cap 10, that 0 represents the one that would be in the budget as a priority that needs to occur.
And just to clarify, these are the projects that we would generally perform in-house or get contracted that don't fall in our capital improvement plan. Because there is a entirely second list that is our capital improvement plan.
These are outside of the capital improvement plan, and these are typically projects that we would not necessarily perform in-house. I can't say that with certainty because certain projects are listed on here. It's really, there's so many projects,
Yeah.
it's really specific. As an example, there was a project, if you remember Mr. Bradbury's summer projects list, we had our internal plumbers conduct a complete boiler replacement, which saved us
Yeah.
a significant amount of money. So for that dollar amount might be listed on here for the parts for that project.
Right.
Because a boiler
labor.
and all the piping that goes with that would be a significant cost, so it would be listed as a priority. However, there's certain times where we would not be able to perform that in-house with our crew, so the list on here would incorporate not only the cost of the materials, but also the cost for the labor of that. So it's a variation.
Right, it depends on who he has on staff at the time and
Exactly.
what capabilities and things like
Exactly.
that.
And the danger and risk of that job as well.
Of course. Yep. Thank you.
So I don't know if you can speak to this, but do you know when he was making his 0 priority list, if he was doing so with the intent of keeping his budget low? Because I'm just looking, for instance, at Pumpkin Delight School, I'm just wondering why a shade for a STEM lab would be a higher priority than repairing an electrical panel.
That's a great question, and I think, and same questions that we have from Ms. Bradbury as well, Mr. Bradbury as well.
It's so funny you picked up on that
It's so funny you
one.
picked up on that, and I love that you did, because so did we. And when we spoke with Mr. Bradbury as, well, is this a 0 priority? That's it's not shade in terms of like blocking sun.
They're blinds.
They're blinds, and it would be a security
Safety.
issue.
Oh, okay.
In the event of a lockdown in that school, there would be nothing blocking the view from the hallway into that classroom.
Okay.
So it has that big giant window in the
Yes,
hallway.
exactly. It's got that big wide open window where it would be a safety concern for our students. So very similarly, we both asked Mr. Bradbury.
Glad I asked that, 'cause
Explain
I was
to us
thinking, yeah.
how this is a 0 priority.
Okay, then I would say yes, it is a 0 priority,
Yes.
I would agree.
Okay, so I have the same kind of question, because I understand the abatement is a 0, I get that it's a 0 part, but then I also felt the intercom was just $700. I felt this, I don't know what room 4 is, but like every,
Which school are you from?
this is,
Live Oaks.
Live Oaks, yeah, Live Oaks.
Well, intercoms are used as part of our emergency procedures.
Yeah, so I looked at that and I was like, why is that not, like, I get I mean, I don't know how like, it can't be both 0. I'm just saying, because the abatement needs to happen, but an intercom also should be, I don't know how that's not a 0.
I think Mr. Bradbury would argue that many of these should be 0s.
I understand.
Yeah.
That just seems like to me, that seems like a safety issue, and not having an intercom.
I think the bottom line of this is the second year we have significantly paused. So we really need a long-range facilities plan for you. Because I mean, there are only so many more years you could pause on projects, like you're pointing out,
Yeah.
right? So I think as soon as a plan is in place, we'll know where to start putting more work and money into.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Can you maybe get, unless you know, because you might have asked him, but can you get a little bit more info on that specific thing? Because the way I'm looking at this, there might already be intercoms there, but that the room's been divided. So maybe there's one intercom in the room, but now
Yeah.
the room's been divided into 4 sections, so he would like to have 3. So it might not be,
That's exactly how I understand it. There's something in the room,
As
but
critical.
it doesn't, like, you know, if the room, let me just give a small example. It may be a classroom that, not this size.
sometimes they divide up
They
rooms.
divide it
Yeah.
up for
A resource
OTPT, social work, or school site, because everyone needs their area to work with students individually.
Yes.
And then we put up some sheetrock walls, so there may be one in that, like, little lobby area when you enter the classroom, but inside, like, each one of those divided areas, there might not be an intercom system from there. So there, it may be audible in that area, but just something as a further enhancement. And without talking to Mr. Bradbury, that's what might say.
Are there any other questions on this list? Ms. Wolf-Boynton?
So first thing I would like to say is I am very grateful for Mr. Bradbury's expertise and all he gives to the school and schools, and really the miracles that he is able to perform. That said, I am so angry right now, I can't begin to express it. Last budget cycle, I said it was a skeleton. This year, it's the marrow inside the bone. And I'm saying this with love and total understanding of what is going on. But I hope, this is on our website, correct? This addendum?
It will be, yes.
If it's not, I hope it is. I
Yeah, a
hope
clear
all of my
explanation
fellow
of what it
board
is.
members share it on social media, that somehow we find the way to show the good taxpayers of Milford what I think is a dangerous situation. And I don't say danger so much as I expect a roof to collapse, God forbid, and on a classroom. But this is, we have put aside so many projects for so many years now. You know, this would have been the 3rd year that we didn't do security updates. You know, we had no choice but to do them this year. I just see us getting pushed farther and farther behind the 8 ball. And I almost can't believe that this is the town that I live in and grew up in and went through the Milford Public School System in. And I do not in any way blame the administration for what is happening. I just think it's a maddening situation, and something has to be done. And I encourage all my other appointed and elected leaders in the city of Milford to pay attention, if nothing else, to this list, because this is horrifying. Thank you for my
But
rant.
to Dr. Kutaya's point, you know, when you look at some of the things here, that, you know, replacing cubbies, remodeling a teacher's room, ceiling tiles, stuff like that, some of those items are items that we wouldn't necessarily want to engage in if we're planning to renovate a building
Or thinking
or
long
something
term.
along that line, so.
But I might want to repair the foundation.
Well, that, yes, some of those,
Okay,
there are
yeah.
definitely certain things on here that don't fall into what I just said, but.
Understood, understood.
Do you have questions, Edmonds?
Well, mine was not nearly as important as that, but I just had a question about who is making the decision about the item cost? Is it the principal, or is it Mr.?
No, the principal wouldn't, with all due respect, have that technical expertise to make that. The priority list is in consultation with the principal and building-based administration. So Mr. Bradbury on a regular basis will say, here's the list of things that I feel your school needs. Can you give me your opinion, you know, living in the building each day, what your priorities are? And then through collaboration, they will take a look at that.
I noticed on here that, this is the reason I asked, there are 3 different costs for classroom cubbies. So I didn't know if there was like discretion.
It could be based on where they're gonna be fitting in, the number of classroom cubbies, the abatement that would go with putting that classroom cubby in. So it's not, one classroom may have a blank wall, and we're just gonna put those in. The other ones may have old cubbies that we would have to remove, test for possible asbestos, things of that nature, before you could actually disturb something. So there's a cost associated with removal of things.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the list? Okay, so that was number 37. It is 9:35. I would suggest we stop.
There's 24 more minutes.
Board members, give me your opinion.
I would like to stop.
I would like to stop.
I'm sorry, you're overruled. We will be back tomorrow at 7, and we'll pick up with number 38. We got through 38 questions, so very good. There's 20 more left.
Motion to adjourn. So I have a question before that gets seconded, is that okay?
Yes.
I just want us to time manage ourselves. Will we be expecting more by tomorrow?
More questions?
Yeah. Like, is anyone going home and sitting at their keyboard?
I don't have any additional questions, but I'd like to know more about the, my brain is toast.
CCC.
Community
Thank you.
connections, yeah.
So I think.
We're gonna work on bringing that data
I
tomorrow.
might have more questions.
Yep.
I mean, I'm just talking about me personally.
Yep.
Does anybody anticipate having additional, new questions to add to our list that would?
At least tomorrow, at least tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, just same as Nicole.
Okay.
Want to see that
Yep.
data, which might generate a question or two, but it's
But
not
on
going
that
to be
topic, right?
not going to be a 3-page list.
Thank you. We just want to figure out what to do with our schedules tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I see no members of the public are here for public comment, so we can dispense with that, and I can entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is Tedros seconded? So we, if there's no objections, we'll adjourn at 9:37, and we'll see everybody tomorrow at 7 p.m.
Mr. Bradbury.